Welcome to the podcast from Headhunters Northwest. Headhunters Northwest. Specialized recruiting, specialized approach, where we take you behind the scenes into our customers' businesses. For over 20 years, Headhunters Northwest has served the global defense, small arms, and shooting sectors worldwide. Listen in as we discuss the inner workings of our USA and international customers. Headhunters Northwest, finding you the best heads for business.
Welcome to another episode of Headhunters Northwest podcast. Welcome, Joel. We have Joel Hodgdon, who is the Director of Marketing or Head of Marketing for RCBS. Is that right?
You got it. Thanks, Shaylene. Happy to be here. And I'm Director of Marketing, and I lead up the marketing and product teams for RCBS, which is these days part of my family company at Hodgdon Powder.
Wow, you have seen a lot of change in your short young life. But look at all the changes at Hodgdon Powder, and then you've worked at a lot of other places. So did your family say, once you're out of that little infant basket, you're out on your own and you have to see if the industry eats you alive before you come back to work for the family?
I'm lucky that I had a chance to kind of grow up in a fun industry, right? And be part of a family business. And, you just soak up some stuff at the dinner table, right? Like we all do with our parents, whether they're teachers or plumbers or, running a business or whatever. So that's kind of how I got my start, and certainly how I got excited about hunting and shooting and reloading and all the rest. But after that,
because you're a user of the products. You're out there using the products. This isn't just a job for you. You're out there hunting and doing all kinds of things.
Yes, ma'am. And I like to joke that I'm really glad my great-grandfather was into this stuff and not, plumbing fixtures, because then I'd have to get excited about toilets every day or whatever, right? So
right, exactly.
It's all, we sell fun, right? I think, as I've heard one of my competitors put it, and he's not wrong, but no, that's part of it. And my family was very gracious, and over the years, families kind of swept the floors and ran the company. But we haven't had a family CEO at Hodgdon in decades and decades. And the family's always said, hey, we want the best and brightest on our management team to go off and run the business for us, right, as owners. And so part of that was the family not requiring, but encouraging me and every other family member to, hey, if you want to work in the business, awesome, but you're not getting a job because you got the right last name, right? You need to go out and get some experience and learn a little bit. And for what it's worth, I'm really glad I did. So I had a great chance to work at phenomenal brands and companies like Remington Ammunition, Federal Ammunition, the Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation. And, I'd encourage anybody, family business or not, going out and spreading your wings and learning a lot from other folks is the way to do it.
Well, and I think, a lot of people think a lot of you, and you're humble and you're very approachable. And, I think that's something that you find in most people in our industry. And I don't see a lot of great big heads going through the door. There are certainly some great big heads, but your family's been very humble and very approachable and very kind and very involved and committed to the industry. This isn't just a business for them. This is an industry for them. That's
right. Yeah. And we've been around the block, Hodgdon since 1947 and RCBS since 1943. And, it's a lot of fun. Just a quick RCBS story, I guess, to kind of illustrate that tenure. When we bought the business, when Hodgdon bought RCBS about 4 months ago, we dug up an old poster, and the poster was from the founder of RCBS, Fred Huntington, and he was part of what they call the Reloading Roadshow. So Fred got together with some other big industry names that everyone's going to recognize, your Noslers and your Hornadys, and my great grandfather, Bruce Hodgdon, and Vernon Spear, right, from Spear Bullets. And these folks put on clinics around the country showing people how to reload and use their products. And, the founder of RCBS and my great grandfather had a relationship, right? And they were on.
Wow.
The same
I didn't know that.
It's really cool. And I think it shows how collaborative our industry is, because we all have way more in common with each other than we do sometimes with the rest of the world, right? And so, our family support of the Second Amendment, conservation, just hunting and shooting in general, we do it because we love it, honestly.
Yeah. Now let's talk a little bit about this new role that you have. And you guys, that particular business is out in Northern California, really not that far from Sacramento. in between Redding and Sacramento, right?
Yes, ma'am. So RCBS is in a place called Oroville, California. And they've been there since Fred Huntington started the business, right, in the 40s. It grew out of the back of, I think it was Fred's dad's laundry business, right? And kind of scaled up from there. And so Oroville is, it's about an hour north of Sacramento, kind of rural town, about 20,000 folks, just a cool place to manufacture and do business. And, I've made the California jokes. I've heard the California jokes. That state has a lot to work on, but the folks in Oroville are just amazing people with an amazing factory and brand. And, we're very happy that we're able to do business there. And,
Northern California is special. It's really beautiful for one thing. And it has a lot of independent conservative people in it. And people, they think of California, you think of Southern California and the people who might not be for our industry as a whole or Second Amendment. And yet Northern California, and I'm sure you're finding this, there's a lot of people who are hunters and fishers and great outdoors people. And, it's a very beautiful part of our country. I think what a great place to buy a business.
Totally agree. Yeah, we're lucky that we were able to make it happen and kind of come alongside the folks in Oroville and partner with them and get them making a lot of product and working on new products. And that innovation angle is something that I'm personally kind of excited about.
Oh, yeah. Gosh. And you know a lot about what you're doing. This is right up your alley. Now, what about future hiring? I'm sure that you guys look for people to work for your company. So talk to us about a little bit about that and what they could expect and, what's coming. I'd love to be able to point people in the right direction. And we'll put the link in, if you're listening to this podcast, we'll put the link in the comments for the careers page for RCBS because we want to support them, you guys, in all your hiring and make sure people know what a great opportunity this is. What a great place to join a great crew and say, hey, welcome and let's go for it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we're hiring all the time, right? And that's everything from, an entry-level hourly job on the production line all the way up through, right now. In fact, I think we're hiring for a controller, right? So a more senior kind of financial accounting role, right? That sits in the plant and, helps lead the team there. So it's across the board. And, we're very proud of the way we treat our folks at Hodgdon RCBS. And so, as a company, we profit share, right? And so you get some skin in the game day one as an employee and a couple times a year if we're profitable and if times are good, we give that back to you as an employee. From there, we treat people how we would want to be treated. And Hodgdon has kind of a mission behind that. And I'd encourage folks to check out our website, hodgdon.com, and read that full mission. But we say that people are more important than dollars, right? And so that's backed up with our commitment to, healthcare benefits, PTO. I mentioned the profit sharing. And so we think it's a great place to work and a great company to work for. Beyond that, as a company, I'm really proud of the fact that we tithe, right? So we give 10% of our profits back to God, back to the nonprofit community, and back to the communities that we operate in. Which is a great impact that I think we're able to have on the world. And, we know that we're not making money and running a business in a vacuum, right? So we want to honor, the communities that we operate in and even the world and kind of give some of that back. So we're lucky to do that. But we're hiring all the time. And I will definitely put a link in the description and encourage folks to reach out to you or me or anybody. And
if you can't figure out who to talk to, give me a call. I'll put you in touch with Joel or ask Joel who we should put you in touch with because we want to support these great manufacturing companies. Go American Manufacturing USA. That's exciting.
It really is. And, the fact that we're rolling in just raw bar stock and big pieces of aluminum and, cast iron and steel and machining it all down to, I think, in my opinion, industry leading, reloading presses and powder dispensers, even making other accessories and whatever else, that's something special and not something you see in the world a whole lot anymore, right? Yeah. I think our industry is lucky because we still have a lot of that.
Yes.
Pride in American manufacturing, but that's not everywhere. And so we're very proud to make an American product, 100%.
That's right. That is a big deal. And it's really important. So how do people purchase these products? Are they only sold through dealers or can they purchase them online? Are you direct to consumer?
All of the above, right? So, we don't compete with our dealers at RCBS or at Hodgdon, so while we do sell direct to consumer off of our brand websites, we keep those offers to consumers where they need to be to kind of honor all of our other distribution partners. So whether you're, retail, distribution, wholesale, dealer, whatever that looks like, we've got sales programs for you. And that's one thing I'd say now too, is in the past, over the last, call it 6 months to a year, I know some RCBS product has been hard to buy and hard to find. And for lots of reasons, that inventory wasn't always there to support our partners at retail or at wholesale or distribution. And the first thing we said day one is, hey, we're investing in inventory and we're going to get the folks in the factory working hard and we're going to go make some product. So I'd say, get an order in and we want to help you out as a customer.
Well, that's good to know because I was already thinking about a Christmas list for my husband.
There you go. Yep. And don't everybody come after me at once. We will do an industry discount at some point.
No, I'm not worried about it. I want to support my industry. I'm not worried about that. I just didn't, I had the same thing happen. I went to go buy a special flashlight from Surefire. And of course, I'm not like you guys. I don't know all these flashlights ins and outs. So I did have to make a special phone call, and Jeremy was good enough to help me out with that and get me one. I didn't know they'd be so hard to find, Yeah. I had no idea. So it's amazing. People talk about our industry, but I'll tell you what, more times than not, we have more buyers than we can make product for, and it's amazing.
Over the last few years, it's been talked about a lot, right? But we all know the amount of new gun owners that have come into the market since COVID and after that. And we all know plenty of folks like us that probably put another, 10,000 or 50,000 rounds of ammo into the basement, right? Or pounds of powder, hopefully, or RCBS rock chucker presses or whatever. So sometimes, we're our own best customers as an industry. But I'd say it's fun seeing more new users getting into things like hunting and shooting. And I'd encourage everybody to, take somebody out and take them hunting or shooting with you and show them the ropes. And, I think, Shaylene, maybe you're the same way. I think you are, but we both have somebody in our lives that taught us to hunt and to shoot, whether that's your dad or your aunt or your grandpa or whatever, taking you out and showing you the ropes, a coworker, a buddy. We got to be that person for other folks, right? Yeah. Because otherwise it's just hard to pick up some of the stuff. And that's kind of my soapbox.
No, I think you're right. And you kind of led me right to where I was going to ask you about, because I don't know this answer, and we didn't talk about this off recording. Yeah. But reloading to me is like super intimidating because I just look at that and go, oh, I'm so scared. But I know it's very popular, and I am learning that it is also a super popular hobby. So it's not just about reloading. It's about the whole process. It's a real hobby. And you're producing something really valuable. So how would someone, and I certainly hope I'm not setting you up for failure here.
No.
But how does someone get started if they don't know anything about reloading? Because that's what RCBS does, is you make reloading equipment, right?
Exactly right. Yep, we do. We make all the tooling that you might need to reload and remanufacture your own ammo, right? On the metallic side, right? We don't have a shot shell loading press anymore, but we sell all the accessories that you would need to take your spent brass from the range and, clean it up and resize it, put a new primer in it, charge it back up with powder and seed a new bullet and go fire it out of your firearm, right? So it is definitely a hobby that requires some education to get into. Mm-hmm. I think I'd kind of liken it, Shaylene, to maybe not quite as esoteric, but, tying your own flies if you're a fly fisherman, or working on your own car, right? If you're into vintage cars, it's, you're doing it sometimes to save money. You're doing it sometimes to get better performance out of your gear, right? Because you're able to really customize and fine tune your ammunition. But a lot of folks just like to do it to, the old joke is you're getting away from your wife for a couple hours and your kids and you're in the basement, right? And you're on your own.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. I'm looking around at these old guys, because my husband and I are getting older and he's older than me. Mm-hmm. And we're looking around at people we meet and there's these old guys with this reloading equipment. I'm like, well, I am getting old because but it's really cool. But then I ask, and a lot of the people, a ton of the people that are candidates or that I meet or hiring managers in our industry, they're all reloading. And
Well,
then all
yes.
their friends are reloading. So this is a big popularity thing, far more than I would ever have guessed prior to getting into the industry.
Well, that's good to know. And I think we've seen that grow over the years.
Yes.
And it used to be you got into hand loading and reloading because, the ammunition manufacturers didn't, frankly, they didn't have a quality product up to where you as a consumer wanted it. Well, now that ammunition quality has come so far that your box of loaded ammo you're buying off the shelf today is a long, long ways ahead and better of maybe the ammo that you could have bought off the shelf, say in the 50s, 60s, 70s. You had less options back then, right?
Yeah.
If you wanted to, I mentioned the nozzlers, right? If you wanted to shoot a nozzler partition, very popular big game bullet, you had to go buy the bullet and hand load it. You couldn't buy it off the shelf in a box of Federal Premium or what have you, right? Like you can today. And so that's part of it. I think over time we've seen that shift in the reloading space where now, your hand loaders, your reloaders, they're a little less casual. Hey, I'm going to load up 20 rounds for hunting season, or I'm going to load up 20 rounds to go plink at the range. Now, most folks into hand loading and reloading, you're really on the cutting edge and seeking the highest level of precision you can get, right? You're a competitor and you want that extremely tight toleranced ammo built to your rifle, to your specs so that you can, have that difference making round during your PRS match or what have you. And then the other side of that is if you're a competitor and you're into a really high volume, high round count sport, trap shooting, even some 3-gun or some handgun sports, IDPA, if you're shooting through ammo or a pallet of ammo a week, right?
Yeah.
You're either going to pay your mortgage or buy ammo. So you got to reload, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big part of who we help service. And so lots of good reasons to do it. I find it fun and there's something really satisfying. I'm a kind of a hunter first. And, when I get a chance at that big trophy mule deer or whitetail or whatever, and I, shoot them with a round that I put together and did the research on and kind of made myself, it's just, it's a sense of accomplishment that is something special.
Yeah, it is something special. Now, what do you think that you're going to be focusing on at RCBS? Do you guys are there some big changes and maybe more activity coming with your social media? What channels can people follow you on? Because I know you, and this is going to be, there's some stuff you already have cooking. I mean, you may say you've only been there 3 weeks, but I'm sure you've already got ideas going where you can help reach your customers.
There you go. Well, hopefully, Shaylene. And I think, so short answer is yes. And I would say now RCBS is back live on all the social media platforms. We've got some great content plan for things like YouTube and our own website. To your point, reloading can be intimidating, and it can be hard to get into. And so, videos on how to make that easier and explain our equipment and give you tips and tricks. I mean, of course, we'll do all that, but with my role as kind of our product development guy, I'm getting with some engineers that are way smarter than me, right? And some folks in our production team that are way smarter than me. And we're going to figure out, hey, how do we make our gear higher quality? How do we come up with an innovative new product? What are we missing on our product line so that we can go give our customers and reloaders at the end of the day an option they might want that we don't have? And so we got a lot of big plans, and I guess I'd just say, give me more than 3 weeks, and I'll figure it out. But no, I'd love
people can start following along, on social media because that builds. It takes some time to build that.
That's right. Yeah, we're of course we're recording this here at end of August. We're kind of looking ahead towards the fall sales cycle, right? And some bigger opportunities such as HHNW coming up here in October.
Yep, that's right.
Obviously, we'll see you and everybody else and their mom at SHOT Show, right? It'll be good to get back in Vegas and see everybody again there. And we should have some new products rolling out then. And then, RCBS is a family-owned company now, and we're not in it to make a quarter or to make the next 3 months work. We're in it to make the
long term
30 years, 30 years work, right? Yeah. So we're trying to be conscientious and plan out those products. And I'd say, hey, if you're a hand loader and you like your green rock chucker press or your Matchmaster powder dispenser or whatever, write in and let us know what you want to see or issues you're having. I mean, I want to hear from you guys and make sure that we're getting you what you want.
And I know that you have a contact us button on the website. So that'd be a good place for them to send that information.
It would. And I got to give our customer service team some props and a shout out real quick. I mean, RCBS, known for our American made gear, right? Our American made tools, known for our long tenure in the industry, but known for our customer service, right? Our customer service team is lights out, and there's some other great brands out there that do that well as well. But, if you have a technical question, if you have a product, hey, how do I use this question? I mean, anything, right? Call in and our team in Oroville, they know the product, they use the product, they hunt, they shoot. I mean, they can tell you, hey, here's what you ought to go do or take a look at, help you troubleshoot, right? And same on the powder side. Our customer service team at Hodgdon Powder that services all of our powder brands just do a phenomenal job. And, if you just want to spitball on talk load development, or, hey, what burn speed do I need for this? Or what powder do I use for that? Or I got this safe, what do I do with it? I mean, they can help you with all that.
Yeah, so, you're not just going to buy this stuff and no one's there to answer a question for you. That's really special. Right.
Yep, that's right. And I think it goes back towards our love and our mutual passion, right? And when you call up our office, I mean, you're going to talk to, Jason or Curtis or Luke or any of our other folks. And those guys have probably learned more about hand loading, forgotten more about hand loading, right, than I've ever learned. I mean, they're just
that's all they do.
You got it. And they can help you get what you want done and have fun on your project too.
Well, I really, really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know you're so busy, and to do this with only 3 weeks on the job, you are very generous to spend this time with me. And I hope that our listeners will go to rcbs.com and take a look at the products, ask the dealers that you go in to visit, the FFLs and the other companies that you go visit to carry these products and buy these great American products. And if you are in Northern California or you want to move there, you should check out their jobs posting and keep an eye on this, because this is it's already good, but it's now going to become even great.
That's right. Well, thank you, Shaylene. And we're looking to grow, right? So I'm hoping that we'll have plenty of options open for folks here in the future. And, I'd say if you're listening to this podcast, you probably already know Shaylene and her crew, hopefully a little bit, but man, you guys are just the best to work with and provide some great recruiting experiences, both on the, the employer end and on the employee end. Right. And that's always funny how many people I bump into the industry and I say, oh, Shaylene. And they're like, wait, I know Shaylene too. Let me tell you, I know headhunters. So it's a fun industry where we all have you in common, I guess I'd say.
I'm honored and humbled, and I appreciate it. It has been a pleasure over the last year to get to know you and to see you reach this next pinnacle of your career. And I will certainly be at NASGW, and I look forward to seeing you and look forward to supporting you like this and any other way, because American manufacturing is where it's at, and good families like the Hodgdons, whatever we can do to support you, because that's what keeps our industry going.
Well, thanks, Shaylene. I appreciate that. And looking forward to NASGW. It's right here in our backyard of Kansas City.
You don't even have to fly.
I know, it's easy. Hodgdon's, I say corporate office, it's all about 20 people, right? But our office is here in Kansas City, and we're looking forward to showing the industry around town and eating some good barbecue and, hopefully celebrating another Chiefs win or a Royals postseason. So we'll see. It should be fun.
That's right. That's right. I forget. I'm talking to the pro here. I forget about that. Here, I have to fly there, and look at you.
Well, and the poor folks in Oroville, California, in 49ers territory, I had to show up and give them a little bit of a Chiefs, rib every once in a while. But besides that, I hope they like me. We'll see. It'll
be great. That's a great part of the country. People don't give Northern California near enough credit. Matter of fact, a little shout out to my own CPA, who happens to be in Redding.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yep.
You just never know, but some great people live in Northern California. So I think this will be a great match. Well, Agreed. Thank you, Joel, very much for doing this podcast with me. That'll be it for this time for Headhunters Northwest podcast. And we look forward to our next opportunity to visit.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Headhunters Northwest podcast. Specialized recruiting, specialized approach. You can reach out at headhuntersnw.com or call 605-600-1709. Join us again next week as we look behind the curtain into the global defense, small arms, and shooting sectors. Headhunters Northwest, finding you the best heads for business.